Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And today we are going to be talking about Daredevil Born Again Season 2. In addition, we've got an On the Horizon segment to go over, and we've got some trailers to talk about and on beats. Let's get started with our On the Horizon segment.
On the horizon. On the horizon.
On the Horizon is where we talk about what's coming up in the next week or so. We're actually going to be talking about some stuff that's already come out because we missed last week's podcast. Last week we ended up canceling the podcast because what we were going to do the podcast about turned out not to be available on streaming like we had thought it was, and we kind of found out last minute and we're like, okay, well, let's just cancel and delay till next week and focus on what we were going to do next week anyways. So that's where we are with that, but that means I'm going to be talking about some stuff that's already come out in the On the Horizon segment, some stuff that's coming out like probably will have been out before the podcast is uploaded, and then also some stuff coming up in the week ahead. Same's going to be true with the trailers. We're going to be talking about some trailers that are from last week and some trailers that are from this week. But let's get started. Lord of the Flies, the limited series, is currently playing on Netflix. It came out on Monday, May 4th. Done by the team behind Adolescence. So,
yeah,
or at
least
the writer behind Adolescence. Which I think we talked about before when we talked about Lord of the Flies when the trailer came out for it, was that it's like, yeah, you know, we need somebody to show run a TV show about a bunch of adolescents going completely apeshit crazy. Who do we get? Well, how about the guy that did Adolescence?
Right.
It's like, yeah, it tracks. It looks good. I still haven't checked it out though, but that came out on Monday, May 4th on Netflix. Citadel, the new season. I know you haven't seen the first season, but you are now contractually obligated to watch the new season because Matt Berry's in it. And that came out on today, Wednesday, May 6th on Amazon Prime. So you don't need to catch up on season 1. You just need to jump into season 2 to fulfill your contractual obligation to the Matt Berry household. Mixtape is coming tomorrow from when we record this. It will already be out by the time the podcast is up. Thursday, May 7th on PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and Switch 2. Mortal Kombat 2 hits theaters this Friday, May 8th. Again, by the time this podcast is up, it'll already be out. Also, The Sheep Detectives is coming to theaters on Friday, May 8th as well. The Punisher, One Last Kill, which is going to be our topic for next week's podcast, is coming on Tuesday, May 12th to Disney+. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to Switch 2 on Tuesday, May 12th as well. Good Omens is having its finale on Wednesday, May 13th on Amazon Prime. They were supposed to have like a third season and it got reduced to like a 90-minute episode or something. So just think of it like a TV special or a TV movie or something that concludes the series. There's like all sorts of reasons why this ended early, I suppose, but we won't go into that. And then In the Gray, which is that new movie that's from Guy Ritchie that has Jake Gyllenhaal and Henry Cavill. That is coming also on Friday, May 15th to theaters. That is it for our On the Horizon segment, and now we're going to move on to On Beat.
On Beat.
This week for our On Beat segment, we're only going to be going over some trailers. We've got 4 we're going to talk about. Some of them are older, some of them are newer. But we're going to start things off with House of the Dragon. We got our first trailer for Season 3. I'm seeing a lot of, like, naval-like shots. So that big naval battle that everybody was pissed off wasn't at the end of Season 2.
Great,
looks like we got that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was very clear that was going to be at the beginning of Season 3.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if Season 3 started with the one Valerian guy or whatever, like, coming into the Queen's Chamber and being like, he's like, that was a rough sea battle, but we threw it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, people would be, like, extra pissed if Season 3 starts and, like, one of the biggest battles of the story is, like, already over.
Yeah.
It all happened off screen between seasons.
He's all, it was so crazy, you wouldn't believe all the stuff that happened. I'm gonna tell you about it.
And tell you about all the major characters who are now dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew that, and it's at the beginning of season 3 because they were trying to save money on the budget by not having it at the end of season 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's also why season 2 was, like, shorter than season 1. It was because of budget. So, I mean, it's been a long wait to see this goddamn battle, so it better deliver.
It's kind of a mixed thing because I remember when we were talking about A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, even before it came out, that it was like, we really were so looking forward to that one just because it felt like so fresh.
Yes.
Compared to like what we did, because I mean, it's not that House of the Dragon is particularly like tired or old and Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is so super fresh or something. It's that House of the Dragon is very in line with what Game of Thrones was. And we had 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, 2 seasons of House of the Dragon. So that's like 10 seasons of this like noble lord, like conspiracy, you know?
I mean, not to speak for you, but my thing with it wasn't like fatigue for this. It was interesting to see a different aspect of the
story.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, so when we went into Knight of the Seven Kingdom, it was like we felt like surprisingly refreshed because we got our Westeros fix, but we also got it from this very different perspective.
Right.
So it felt like really freshened up. Now we're going back into like the old format, basically, with House of the Dragon season 3, and it's like I'm kind of mixed now. I kind of just want another season of Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, but at the same time, I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, for sure.
So give us some more Lowborn stuff. Come on. But that's House of the Dragon. Yeah, I thought trailer looked good. They always have like great soundtracks on the like Game of Thrones and House of the Dragons trailers. This was the case here with that horn that was like playing throughout the trailer, you know. It just sounded really primal and like the way it matched up with the dragon imagery. Very cool. Looked like a lot of sea battle, naval stuff going on. So that's going to be a big part of it. I'm hoping that's very early. I'm hoping they jump right into that right at the beginning of the season. Like instead of like building up to it, because basically season 2 was all building up to it, you know?
Yeah, we already built up to it. We need to do it now.
Yeah, it would be really cool if it just jumped in like immediately. Like episode 1 started that whole big battle. And then, like, it kind of came down and started moving into new areas throughout the next season, or throughout the season. I think that would be, like, really cool. I'm kind of think that that's probably what they did, and I'm hoping that's what they did. Next, we got the trailer for Resident Evil. Now, we talked about this when we talked about CinemaCon, but we hadn't seen the trailer yet. We'd only heard people talking about
the description of the trailer.
Yes.
You know, yes.
So now we got to see the trailer, the one that everybody is like, Resident Evil in name only. Krieger's screwing it all up.
That's not like everybody. I mean, it's a certain segment of rabid fans who are not happy that this isn't about Leon or Claire or whatever. It's hilarious because I just saw a comment like, oh, this isn't Resident Evil, it doesn't have anybody. And all you have to do to reply is post Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7, which was a game where the protagonist was Ethan Winters, a guy who was like never in Resident Evil before, or like mentioned prior to that. It's like a totally new person. And it's like, yeah.
As somebody who only really knows Resident Evil like through the zeitgeist, I've never played the games or anything, but I'm a gamer, I know about that shit. I'm aware. I've seen the first of the ones that we shall not speak of movies. So yeah, like, just from what I know from the zeitgeist, like, watching this trailer, I'm like, this is, for everybody bitching, this is like the most Resident Evil looking Resident Evil thing I've seen.
There's so many like
in live action, you know?
There's so many like Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And mostly like in the way that like Resident Evil like functions. Like there's the scene where he's looking in the drawers. He has like the freaking shotgun. He's cocking the shotgun. There's the scene where this corpse has a set of keys on it and he's going to reach it and like a monster like drags it further. That's like a puzzle in like one of those games where it's like, oh, get the keys. And Zach Krieger like said that the way this is Resident Evil is that he wants to recreate the experience of playing one of these games.
Yeah, I've heard that's even with like the camera perspective, like it's going to be largely over the shoulder, kind of like in a RE4 style way.
Yeah.
He had to kind of like investigate how to film it that way because like it's outside of his like filming style, like where almost the whole movie is shot in this kind of on the go, over the shoulder kind of perspective. So I think that's kind of interesting too.
And the reason he gave for not using legacy characters is because
You've already got their stories.
Yeah, you got their stories. And honestly, like, I agree with him. Me watching a movie that's just trying to be a live-action version of Resident Evil 2 with the exact same story is not interesting to me in the slightest. It's like, because I've seen that story.
You know what is the case, though? Is I know exactly who would have played Leon if Leon was in this. It's not a super famous actor.
Robert Pattinson.
No, it's not a super famous actor. It's the actor.
How am I supposed to know?
It's the guy in Companion, the male companion, the gay one.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because Krieger reuses his cast. He reuses.
I know, like he's like most directors.
And that guy just looks like Leon S. Kennedy. The actor just looks like him. So it's like, yeah, he would have been Leon, I'm sure. If Krieger wanted Leon in it, even though he didn't direct Companion, he produced it and was heavily involved. That guy would have been Leon Kennedy. I think that would have been weird for people. I think everybody would be like, why isn't it Leon Kennedy and Chris Redfield? It's like the second you see that as like a live action actor that you already know or something, you're going to be like, why couldn't they have made up a different character? It would have flipped in the opposite direction.
But yeah, like it makes sense to do this as an original character, you know, to tell an original story. People like, why then is it called Resident Evil? I mean, because it's going to have the elements specific to Resident Evil.
The motifs of the genre will be plentiful.
Yeah, exactly. Trust the process, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, as far as like horror movies go, this looked thrilling, you know, this looked like what he's going for is going to be this white knuckle, never stopping thrill ride where like there isn't a moment of rest. It looks like the hits are just going to keep coming, and that looks incredible to me.
Yeah, they've been comparing it to like Mad Max Fury Road, just like the idea that it's this constant moving thing. And that was what was good about Mad Max Fury Road. I mean, there was a lot that was good about Mad Max Fury Road, but like in particular, it was that sensation of constant momentum that is what made it like really work, where that movie just flew by because it was constantly moving. And that feels like that's going to be the case here. It's this guy, he's traveling through the city, he's doing stuff. He's kind of by himself, so there's not going to be like a bunch of conversations and dialogue scenes. It's going to be him progressing through this environment and not really staying in the same place for too long, which I think that's going to make it like a really fun movie-going experience. Another thing that I thought was really interesting is that Zach Krager has a thing for doors.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this before when we talked about Weapons, where like he does these amazing shots, like in Weapons, he did them in Barbarian too, where you have this like, you have all this tension based on the idea of like there's this kind of scary shot, it's really long, and there could be anything coming in from any side that's like that's scary, and there's a door right in the way, and the door kind of acts as this like illusion of safety, and that's what makes it scary, is that it's not real safety. But and like Krieger's very into that, and like even in Weapons, like the scene that everybody still talks about with Weapons almost more than anything else is the car door scene, and all it is you just hear the car door open, and it's like everybody in the theater kind of jumped when that happened. And it's like that idea of like doors as being this like false thing of safety. That's also a big part of Resident Evil. It might be where Krager got his obsession with doors from, to be honest, since he was like a big RE fan. But that's a big part of RE too, because in Resident Evil, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but like a big part of the game that made it scary and made it exciting for people was that it played on tropes of traditional games, of the idea of like, oh, you enter in the new room and now you're safe. And then something would like burst through a window that was from like a different room or something like that. And it's like that idea of like, okay, well, that door is only your illusion of safety. And it sounds like he's kind of carrying that on here as well, because that's just like there's lots of door shots in this trailer.
Oh, yeah. Doors are like a big thing in Resident Evil, too.
Yeah.
Play Resident Evil on the PlayStation 1, every time you open a door, there's like the cutscene of the door opening.
Yeah, that's their like loading screen.
That's the loading screen, because the game's loading the data from the next room. Let's fight. It also, like, it's appropriate. It makes doors are important in Resident Evil, too, so.
Yeah.
There we go. So see, like, it is faithful to the franchise.
It has doors.
It has doors.
What else do you need?
Yeah, exactly.
Every movie with doors is a Resident Evil movie. That's what Will is saying right now.
Yes.
Alright, next we got a trailer for Evil Dead Burn. So what's interesting here is that we had heard about this trailer from CinemaCon. Again, like the Resident Evil one, we heard descriptions of it, but weren't able to see it. And then like right after CinemaCon, they released a teaser that was completely unrelated to what we'd heard about from CinemaCon. It was like a oneer where they just had this like single shot scene. We already talked about that, either like on the last podcast, I think, or maybe the one before. We talked about that Evil Dead teaser, that Evil Dead Burn teaser. But now we got the one that actually was at CinemaCon. That, you know, like I'd heard about like the dishwasher and stuff like that. Like I'd heard reference to the dishwasher and to the person coming through the door with the car headrest like impaled through their head. And, you know, like this is the trailer we got. This is the one that was shown at CinemaCon. I liked the teaser, the kind of like one-er teaser that they released, but it didn't really feel all that Evil Dead. Like it just kind of felt like almost like a zombie movie or something with like a few little parts where it's like, oh, okay, somebody's floating. That's not very zombie. But here, like, this feels way more Evil Dead. Like, this really does kind of have that, like, that feeling of cruelty that Evil Dead has. That feeling of, like, taking something and then pushing it just a little bit past what's, like, the line of decency, and then pushing way past that even again. And that was kind of in play here in this trailer. What did you think of this trailer?
Oh, I thought this trailer was excellent. I mean, it looked scary. It looked Evil Dead.
Yeah.
It looked like of the same like intensity and quality of Rise, you know, like the previous one.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like the new thing they're doing with Evil Dead is this whole kind of more lean on like family. And the first Evil Dead, the very, very original Evil Dead, had some aspect of that because one of the characters like was Ash's sister, you know, that was in the cabin with him. But they didn't really play too much on that again in the original series until Ash versus Evil Dead, when they kind of like looked into like, you know, who his father was and what people thought about him. They thought he killed all his friends and his sister and stuff in the town he was from. But with like the first Evil Dead remake, they brought in this really strong kind of family dynamic where it was like about addiction and about family dealing with addiction. And then Evil Dead Rise, like much more so. It brought like children into the picture, which wasn't really a thing that we had in Evil Dead before. So it brought that about, and it was like, okay, now you're getting like really into this kind of idea of like family and like family horror. And here we kind of got that like continuing on. It's kind of like a new facet of the franchise, I think, that's come through in the remake series. I thought that was kind of like a little interesting touch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, looks gory as shit, looks vicious. The dishwasher scene is flinchy, as I've heard. And
it sure is.
Flinch-worthy. Let's say that's like what we'll refer to it as. But yeah, so that's Evil Dead Burn. I'm looking forward to that. And then today, when we're recording this on Wednesday, May 6th, out of nowhere, I told you before the podcast, like, that I wasn't feeling great, had a headache. I said I took like a little nap. I woke up from my nap and saw that there was currently a Nintendo Direct airing.
So this is interesting. This is fascinating because, like, I was, like, randomly, you know, refreshing YouTube looking for videos to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Good Vibe Gaming was streaming a Star Fox Direct reaction. And I was like, the fuck you mean, Star Fox Direct reaction? Nothing was announced. By the way, this is like 6:30 in the evening.
Yeah, this is very rare. Nintendo, especially recently, Nintendo's been doing their directs at like very early in the morning.
Yeah, usually in the morning, the direct. So this is 6:30 in the evening. Nothing been announced. So I click on it and I'm watching the Good Vibe Gaming stream. And I'm kind of like not really paying attention to it because I'm kind of like, okay, what is this? They doing like a bit? This isn't April Fool's. They're doing some kind of a bit. And I'm just like, not even like, I'm kind of thinking like, did the AI generate this? Okay, fine. I'll play along. I'm listening. And the other thing that like made me think it was fake or they were doing a bit because like they were so enthusiastic about it, or like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I want from Switch 2 Star Fox. This looks great. They're using all the features. They're talking about very positively. I'm like, okay, are they doing like a fake reaction to a Star Fox that they want to happen? It sounds like they're just fake reacting to a fake Star Fox, their ideal Star Fox game that they want to happen on Switch. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to check Twitter to see if anything happened. And I check Twitter and I don't see anything about Star Fox on Twitter. So I go back to it and I'm like, why are they doing this? This is fake as hell. I don't get it.
Did at any point you start to think that maybe you were like hallucinating or something?
Yeah.
Am I asleep? Is this a dream?
Yeah. I'm like, I was like, what the hell? I'm like getting mad at them at this point because I'm like, okay, this is not cool to just like make up a fake Star Fox Direct and react to it. And then I go on Reset Era and I see the thread about it and I'm like, oh shit, it did happen. It is real. I was like, what the hell? That just got dropped out of nowhere at like 6 in the evening.
Yeah, this is the one that Nate the Hate said was going to come in late April. And it didn't end up happening in April, but it happened in early May.
Yeah, it happened in early May, yeah. So he was like a little off on the timing, which is like, I mean, the timing of these things is like always fluid anyway.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like Nintendo missed their mark on the marketing, like the way they dropped this too, though, because it really does feel like Nintendo was like, oh shit, we gotta get this trailer out there. We didn't announce anything in advance for Direct or give people they literally just tweet out, this is Miyamoto, we're dropping a Star Fox trailer in like 10 minutes. Get ready. So weird how this like went down. It's unusual for like Nintendo standards even, because normally they will announce stuff on Twitter, like the Splatoon Raiders, but it's usually like sometime in the afternoon, sometime early in the day. It's not like a direct. It's just like a trailer or something. This was like a full-on 15-minute direct that they just shadow dropped with no advance warning. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, 10 minutes.
By the way, this game is very heavy on cinematics, funny enough.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much all that's new is, like, the graphics.
Yeah,
I think there might be some new, like,
all the cinematics
auxiliary modes, but, like, for the most part, it's the graphics and the cinematics that are different.
Yeah, the cinematics are new. So I should clarify that this is a full remake of Star Fox 64 and the N64. I know people are disappointed by that.
What's interesting about that is that Star Fox 64 was a remake of Star Fox.
Yes, it was a remake.
And then Star Fox 64 on the DS was a remake of Star Fox 64. And now this is another remake of Star Fox 64.
No, Star
also
Fox
a remake of Star Fox.
No, Star Fox DS was not a remake of Star Fox 64.
No, the 3DS. I'm sorry, Star Fox. 3DS.
I mean that's a remaster. That's more of a remaster port.
But they redid the graphics, and so a little bit. They did new textures.
Yeah, they did new textures.
Similar to like Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask on 3DS.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Which is interesting now for another reason, because Nate the Hate also said there's an Ocarina of Time remake in development, supposedly coming out later this year. And it's funny to me that they did a Star Fox remake and an Ocarina of Time remake in the same year on the 3DS.
Hey,
now they're doing it again.
They did Mario Kart World and Kirby Air Riders released in the same year, you know?
Yeah.
Nintendo does that.
On the 3DS, they did the Star Fox 64 and Ocarina of Time remakes on the 3DS, released those in the same year.
Okay, yeah.
Now there's a Star Fox 64 remake and an Ocarina of Time remake.
I just think it's interesting because I'm not particularly a fan of Star Fox, and my argument, and I find it very hard to find people that disagree with me, is that there are only 3 good Star Fox games: Star Fox 64, and Star Fox on the 3DS, and all of those games are based on the same game.
I don't count Star Fox on 3DS as a different game than Star Fox.
They're all
the same game.
It's remakes. It's like the Star Fox 64 is a remake of Star Fox. And
basically, you're agreeing with me that Star Fox 64 is the best. I think Star Fox 64...
It's the only one.
I'd say it's better than Star Fox SNES just because on the N64 it runs faster, it feels more fluid.
Yeah,
they
added gameplay elements, of course, but like, it's just funny to me that it's like the only good games in the franchise are basically the same game.
I'm gonna be fair, I'm gonna be honest and fair to say I haven't played any of the other games in the franchise. So like, I haven't played Assault, I haven't played Command, I barely played Star Fox Adventures, but I wouldn't count that either. That's an action adventure game that was reskinned.
Yeah, it wasn't even a Star Fox game initially. I played the original version of that game on N64 at like E3. It was better. The GameCube Star Fox version isn't as good as the original one that I played at E3.
You can't say that based on off of a demo.
I played a demo. I played the GameCube game. The demo was better.
All right, fair enough.
The character was more interesting. The visual aesthetic was like everything. It was just better. It was like it was designed to be that, and then they changed.
Anyway, all I'm saying is like Star Fox 64 is one of my favorite N64 games. There's the obvious, there's Mario, there's Zelda, but then there's like Star Fox 64, F-Zero X, that line of games. Star Fox 64 is just like a very well-designed, tightly designed rail shooter that's fast and fluid and fun. And the thing is, they released that, and then after they released that, they started like experimenting with Star Fox. They never like really did an in-house Star Fox game after that, because with the GameCube. Star Fox Adventures was a reskinned rare game. Star Fox Assault was by Namco. I think that was like the closest to it, but like they added these on-foot missions to Assault, which is kind of like, my understanding of Assault is the R-Wing, like the vehicle missions are of quality, but then like the on-foot missions are like so-so.
What
and
I've
it's
heard
so
is
weird.
that Command on the DS was okay. Not great, but okay. Like, it was very different, and some people seem to actually think it was like an okay game.
Command on the DS was not like the traditional Star
Yeah,
Fox
it was very
version.
different. But
Yeah,
like,
it uses
people,
like the touchscreen.
general consensus is that it was okay.
Yeah.
Whereas like most of the other, outside Star Fox games are kind of seen as trash.
But
And the other Star
I
Fox
mean-
game that's kind of well liked to some extent is the one that's not even really Star Fox, but it had some Star Fox content in it, that Ubisoft game.
Oh yeah,
Which
no,
live
I'm
one?
not gonna bring that up.
Yeah, but some
That
people
don't count.
count
That
that
don't
as like
count.
decent Star Fox,
That don't.
like,
I mean, that's not.
I'm just
Star
saying from the perspective of there hasn't been good Star
Well,
Fox.
I just want to like talk about Star Fox games here. So like Assault had the on-foot missions, Command had like the weird touchscreen stuff going on. Then Zero had like the dual screen with the Wii U gamepad for like aiming, which was like
That was
weird.
such a shame because you had Platinum Games making that.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
should have
it
been a
was.
home run, and then they got too into gimmicks and shit.
Yeah, they wanted to use the Wii U gimmicks, and that was my thing. It was kind of like my whole thing with like the Star Fox games following 64 would be like, I would be on board if you just made Star Fox 64 again. Star Fox Zero was just Star Fox 64, like normal ass Star Fox. I would have been more enthusiastic. I would have played that. And I didn't because it had like this weird gimmick attached to it. So my thing is, sure, this is a remake of Star Fox 64, but also like Star Fox 64 is the game I want. It's the game I want to play. It's like a super fun game. And you know what? The graphics, the visuals look amazing on this. Like, it looks like they're really taking advantage of the power of the Switch 2 with this. I'm excited. I'm down. They got a challenge mode added to it. So there's so you can go back into levels and complete challenges. That gives it more replay value. I think it's a good package. It is like, my take is like, yes, it's a little disappointing that it's just like a remake of Star Fox 64. There's no new content level-wise, gameplay-wise.
But it's the only good Star Fox content.
But it's like it's the gameplay I want, and hopefully maybe this leads to like a sequel where like that plays the same but like has new content.
I'm
Like,
just saying that,
yeah.
like, I think that it's very telling that they went back to the well of the only good Star Fox game, because, like I said, Star Fox 64 is a remake of the SNES Star Fox. So it's like this line. It's like it's been proven true that they haven't been able to move away from Star Fox 64 and also make a good game.
I don't think that necessarily. Here's the thing I think that's behind this. I think they want to reintroduce Star Fox as a franchise. I think that was the reason they put Fox McCloud in the Mario movie, to put him in front of like a wider audience. And I think like the
that
idea
seems to be
here-
like a Switch 2 mission in general of like bringing back like dormant franchises.
And I think like the reason Star Fox 64 over something more complicated or more gimmicky is just like they want to go back to basics, and they want to get like those people who saw Fox McCloud in the Mario movie to get like the Star Fox game. And the best introduction to the game series is just like the most back to basics game, right? It's kind of like the strategy they used with New Super Mario Brothers, where like on the DS, where they went back and they made like a traditional 2D Mario game that played like the old Mario games. And that was like super successful because that got like a bunch of like lapsed gamers who bought a DS to play like Brain Age or something back into the franchise. I think that's kind of what they're hoping for here with this.
Yeah, I think they're just hoping in general that they can turn Star Fox into a viable franchise in general. And
Yes.
that's why they're going back to the well. Because that's the one that was successful. So might as well like go back to that well, update it, try to like really like make the absolute best actual beloved version of the Star Fox franchise that everybody wants, and make that to its best degree, the best way you can possibly do it, best graphics, everything, just refine it all to hell, make it as good as possible, and then put that as your best foot forward and hope that it works.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's what they're doing there. I think it's interesting I think the Avatar thing was pretty interesting. It's like turning us all into VTubers, I guess.
Turning us all into VTuber. You can now be Fox McCloud. And also, I don't think that's going to be limited to this game. I think
well, they showed if you're playing the game and you're in game share with people or game chat with people playing other games, you can have your face be that face to them.
That's not what I'm saying, though. What I'm saying is I don't think it's going to be limited to Star Fox characters going forward. I think
they're going to add that VTuber element to other things.
Yeah, there'll be other characters and stuff that you can be eventually over time with this technology, because I don't think they're just going to just have it be with Star Fox characters. I think they developed this technology to basically become a character in voice chat. So I think they're going to expand that out.
Yeah. Another interesting aspect of this is, like I said, they're doing this push with Switch 2 of kind of trying to reinvigorate old franchises or dormant franchises. This is a bigger deal when it comes to that because we haven't had a decent Star Fox game in so long. But whereas Donkey Kong, we've had the Donkey Kong Country games and the Donkey Kong Country, the new ones that were done by Retro and stuff are a little bit more recent as far as good games go or respected games go before we got Donkey Kong Bonanza, which kind of reintroduced it again. So do you think we have some more in line? What games do you want to see Nintendo bring back that are long dormant?
You know what? I would love to see Kid Icarus Uprising 2. Especially on a system with proper dual analog sticks.
The subtitle will be this time with proper controls.
Yeah, bless Sakurai. He did his best. But, just the control, he was trying to do, a control system with one analog stick that, really screamed for two analog sticks. So that could work.
I want the mysterious Muramasa Castle, or Murasama Castle.
I would love to see a new Wario world. A new Wario platform.
Wario would, in anything would be good. Or a real return to form for WarioWare, because those have been a little sketchy for a while.
Yeah, but more than that, I just want a platformer, because, I feel we keep getting, WarioWare games, and it's, the last Wario platform was Shake It on the Wii. So it's been a minute.
How about split the difference? A Wario platformer game, but you bring in all the characters and stuff from the WarioWare game.
Yes, please. That'd be awesome.
Bring in Ashley and
I agree.
Robot and all these characters.
That'd be really interesting, really fun.
I want that Murasame Castle. I want that brought back. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Murasame Castle.
A Zelda style samurai game,
I would like to see a new Advance Wars. I don't think it's happening because that franchise is cursed. The remake.
So is Star Fox.
The remake they did on the Switch got shelved because of real world events, and then when they ended up releasing it, it didn't end up selling that well anyway. So I think that franchise is just dead.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nintendo does not want to have a game about war anymore because stuff keeps happening in the real world.
Yeah.
So that's a shame.
They can get away with it with Fire Emblem because it's all swords and sorcery and shit.
Exactly.
That's pretty much it for the Star Fox Direct. That was kind of a surprise out of nowhere. Like I said, I really do not give a shit about Star Fox. I'm interested in it just from the perspective of I'm a Nintendo fan, so I'm interested in it from that perspective. I am happy for all the furries out there, though. Furries, you've got your game back.
I am interested in because, again, this is Star Fox 64. I love it. Rail shooters are fun when they're done well. Star Fox was one of the best of them. Yeah, so this is going to be a fun time for me. I already pre-ordered it.
And we should say this wasn't revealed in the Direct, so if you don't know, the price was revealed to be $49.99 digital and $59.99 physical.
Interestingly enough, the same price as Splatoon Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
It does look like they're doing a lot more lower priced games instead of everything being $70 default now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting on its face. I remember when Mario Kart was $80 and people freaked out and thought every game coming out was going to be $80. Nintendo didn't do another $80 game, funny enough.
The only $80 game Nintendo put out besides Mario Kart World was because it was a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of a game that was $70, That's
Yeah, the only other $80 games are Nintendo Switch 2 editions with DLC and stuff added to a $60, $70 base game.
I think the only one is actually Tears of the Kingdom, and that's $70 on Switch, and the Switch 2 edition is $80. But also, if you have Nintendo Switch Online plus Expansion Pass, you just have it. Like, you have the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah, they included it with the Expansion Pass. With
Well, you have to have the original game, and then it just...
Yeah, they're not giving you the whole game. They're giving you the upgrade, yeah.
But that's Star Fox. Now we're going to move on to our main topic, full spoilers. This time on Full Spoilers, we're talking about Season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, in which there is no silly bank heist episode.
Yeah, I like the bank heist episode from Season 2. I like that. That was like...
It was the discrepancy, though. It was the holdover.
It was like the one episode from the old format that survived intact.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There were elements from the original version of the series that remained in Season 1 of Born Again, and even continued on into Season 2, but that episode was like an episode that they filmed for the original iteration of the show that was kept as is, which is interesting. But it was a fun episode, so. But
I'm gonna say I think you're bigger on this season than I am, and we haven't really talked too much about it.
I love this season. I love this, and they nailed the ending. Holy shit. That finale was so good.
I'm kind of mixed. I think I'm kind of a little bit bored of the Daredevil formula. Just because we had 3 seasons on Netflix and now we've got 2 seasons of Born Again. So it's kind of like, it's gotten a little old for me. I did still like it. It's weird. And I think we mentioned this before. We have been watching, not just back to back, but concurrently, The Boys, Invincible, and Daredevil Born Again. And I think my least favorite is Daredevil Born Again. I'm liking all 3 of them, but I think Daredevil Born Again for me is the one I'm liking the least.
That is really interesting because my least favorite right now is The Boys.
That would be my second least favorite.
And I think there's interesting parallels here where it's like Daredevil is dealing with similar themes and similar comparisons to The Boys, and I'm just thinking, man, Daredevil is running circles around The Boys on the themes that they're trying to do, on the same themes, on the same comparisons. They're just running circles around The Boys. It's insane. And
to me, there's a level of fatigue. It's the same villain, basically, again, continuing through. And there's also one criticism I do have, and this is even true when compared to the old seasons, like the Netflix seasons, is that this season is pretty much completely humorless.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about I want it to be quippy, a Marvel movie. I'm not saying that. I'm saying even the original Daredevil, it had more levity to it. It would have these really dark moments, but then it would have these kind of light moments and these moments of levity and stuff that kind of broke it up. And this just seems like it's just full dark. There's no levity at all.
Right.
And even Born Again Season 1 had I think a few moments of levity, and I think some of that probably came from it being structurally weird from them rebooting it or whatever. But it's just gone here. And I know some people, that's exactly what they want. They want that darker thing or something.
Oh yeah, I thought it was appropriate for this.
Yeah, for me,
the story that they were telling.
I want some lightheartedness, just because that's how life is. In life, you have tragedy and you also have comedic moments and stuff.
Right. No, I get that. It just wasn't an issue for me personally.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I figure you're more hot on this than I am. Even before we talked about it right now, I'm I think Will's going to be
There was some levity with the character of Mr. Charles, because he is not entirely serious in his appearances, but he also does not show up that often.
I don't think they mentioned it in the show, but do you know who he works for?
Yeah, he works for Val, yeah.
Yeah. Did they mention that in the show, or was that just an interview?
I don't believe they mentioned that directly in the show.
Yeah, I thought that was when I was putting the show notes together, that popped up, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, the showrunner confirmed to EW that he is associated with Val, because he said he wanted to do something with Matthew Lillard, and Mr. Charles was written for him, and he said, I want to do something in the world of Valentina Alighieri di Fontaine, So yeah.
So apparently all it takes to just like have a huge career resurgence is to get shit talked by Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's funny because like I finished like watching Daredevil. Now Matthew Lillard's going to be in the new Superman movie.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. That was a news story that I was considering putting in our news coverage, and I'm like, we usually don't cover castings unless it's like super significant.
Right.
So,
and we found a way to slip it into here. So it's
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
We got that. We got that covered.
I thought it might come up just because we'd be talking about Matthew Lillard in general for this, but yeah, I like his character. Another character that I kind of found myself liking, I think I didn't know how I felt about him last season, was Gandolfini, Tony Soprano's kid.
Oh my god, yeah, his performance was so great in this.
He's just an interesting character because he's like kind of toxic and despicable in like his desires, but like you can tell his heart's not there. Like he's fooled himself into thinking it's cool.
Yeah, he fooled himself into thinking he's cool. He actually, at the end of the day, he has a good heart.
Yeah.
He's just trying to be part of, like, in club. And it's a bad club that he's trying to be a part of. You know, it's kind of like that.
It made his character very interesting because, like, he'd be, like, bragging about his apartment and everything he had, and it's like, meanwhile, the girl that he, like, really wants, that, like, he's trying to be impressive for, is, like, that's the exact thing that's basically holding her back from liking him more, you know?
Right, yeah, exactly. I'm just like, dude, you're fumbling the bag really hard here.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this Daniel story exactly drives to the heart of why I love this season of television so much, is like, it's full of just excellent character work. It's all over the place, from like Daniel to like what they do with Fisk.
Well, even like Jack. Like, I think what they did with Jack was way more interesting than what they did with him in Hawkeye.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he's just like in this for a short point.
I just want to see more of Tony Dalton in the MCU.
Yeah. Even like what they did with Bullseye this season, too.
Yeah, he was definitely more interesting this season than he has been in previous, even going back to like season 3 of Daredevil. I wasn't too into him in season 3 of Daredevil. And in Born Again in the first season, he just kind of popped in at the beginning, and it was like very much felt like, they just kind of like shoehorned him in when they were trying to rework everything. They didn't really get to do too terribly much with them. And here they actually like did. They were able to actually kind of dive into him like psychologically, like how he...
Yeah, like how he ticks, how he works. We got to see him separate from being just an antagonist for Matt.
I'm kind of blown away we didn't get like any Punisher shit.
Yeah,
we got reference to it, but not anything. I mean, we saw his logo everywhere because of the ABTF, but... Yeah,
apparently John Bernthal just was not available to do this season.
He's got the spin-off coming next week, the special.
Yes. Yeah, the spin-off that he had been working on with Disney and Marvel, like, separately from this.
Yeah.
So I think, like, he was kind of busy planning that and, like, his other projects he was doing.
I think that kind of worked towards Bullseye's favor, because he kind of, like, he represented his own traits, but he also kind of represented what the Punisher represented in the last season.
Yeah, he was, like, kind of the Punisher in this season. And it's kind of funny, because you kind of end up liking Bullseye this season, even though, like, he is a psychotic sociopath, even worse than Frank, you know? He's not somebody to root for, but there are moments when, like, you are rooting for Bullseye, you know, when he's killing those ATVF officers, you know, like...
Yeah, it's like, fuck them, you know?
Fuck them. Because, you know,
I also have to say, I like that they retconned how much the Netflix series fucked up Luke Cage and Jessica Jones.
Yeah, I like...
Because that's, like, their relationship is, like, it's key to those two characters, and then they just kind of retconned all the, like, garbage that they tried to, like, separate that from them.
Yeah, I like that the current showrunner they got, like, kind of recognized, you know, that relationship, you know, like, he took that straight from the comics, like, now they are full-on couple, they have a daughter, you know. You're reminded, by Jessica having a young daughter, you're reminded that a lot of time has passed since the end of Daredevil Season 3, since those Netflix shows.
Yeah.
You know,
Some of those were not good, man.
Yeah, some of those were not good, yeah.
Iron Fist, like, it's funny, like, I was gonna make the joke, I kind of missed my opportunity, but I was gonna make the joke to you. I didn't know if you'd watched this yet, so I held off and then I forgot to do it, but I was gonna make the joke to you when Luke Cage showed up at the end. I was gonna say, so they brought back all the Defenders. And I was gonna wait for you to say, except Iron Fist, and I said, all the Defenders.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that kind of missed your cue on that one. But yeah, it's interesting because they had Luke Cage working for Mr. Charles. But yeah, that's fun. That was cool to see him. I will say, like, one of the weakest aspects of the season was Jessica Jones, because she shows up and she doesn't, like, really do much. She's not, like, in it much.
Yeah, they didn't really explore. Like, she has a daughter and they kind of barely referenced it, you know?
Yeah.
Her introduction was really cool, where you just see, like, somebody playing with a young girl, and you can't see who it is, and then you see these agents kind of showing up outside, and then you just see, like, them going flying, and it's like, oh, it's Jessica.
Yeah, it's Jessica, yeah. Exactly.
So it was a cool introduction. It was, you had the reference to her having a kid when she, later on, when she talked to Matt and said, like, you know, he talked about, like, oh, I'm not built like you or something, and she said, oh, you haven't tried childbirth or something. Which was like, okay, yeah, they're referencing it, but, like, they're not really getting into, like, how her kind of dynamic is going to change by how she's a parent. She kind of acted like the old Jessica Jones, just getting drunk and getting into fights, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'd say her involvement was, as much as, like, I love Kristen Rare and I love the character, it was the weakest aspect of the season. But I love this, especially, like, the finale. I thought, like, the downfall of this was, like, so well done.
I thought it was kind of ridiculous that they gave him his out. And then right after they offered him his out, he just, like, murdered, like, 20 people.
Oh, that was brutal,
and then he still had his out. And then that's all. You can still take your out. And it's like, I just fucking murdered, like, 20 people.
I just took that as, like, a condemnation of, like, certain people in power seem to be able to do whatever and get away with it, right? Or get, like, a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I guess. And it was just kind of like they made it like it was a big win or something. And it's like, I wonder if the families of all those people he just murdered feel that way.
Yeah, no.
Because I sure as hell wouldn't.
No. I mean, that was a brutal scene. That was, like, one of the best scenes from the finale, though, because they did it where they took the hallway fight from, like, the first season of Daredevil on Netflix that, like, everybody loved, and then they made it, like, a dual hallway fight with, like, very different themes to them, like, opposites. The dual hallway fight of Matt and Jessica fighting the ATVF agents, and then at the same time, Fisk is in a hallway, like, literally murdering civilian protesters. Brutally.
I gotta ask you a comic book question.
Okay.
So, have they ever given a explanation for Fisk being so insanely strong beyond him just being, like, kind of freakishly, in a human way, freakishly built or whatever? Has there ever been, like, oh, you know, actually he's got, like, a very slight mutation, or, you know, like, some other thing that ties into, because it is kind of almost like on a supernatural level how strong he is.
Nope, he doesn't officially have
He's
powers.
just kind of like a freak within the normal bounds of humanity.
Yes, yeah, exactly. He is basically
like how Michael Phelps is to swimming, he is to brawling.
He is basically like one of the strongest non-superhumans in the Marvel universe. Like he could take on some of, like, the lower level bruisers in Marvel. Like, Fisk can go hand to hand with Captain America and stuff like that. He is freakishly strong, but it's not the result of, like, a mutation or powers as far as we know. Marvel could always retcon that. And, like,
he's more of, like, a natural freak. Like I said, like Michael Phelps is to swimming. It's almost like he's genetically designed to be the perfect swimmer. Like, Fisk is, like, genetically designed to be the perfect bruiser.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to ask that because I think this is the first time, I mean, I guess the very end of the first season was the first time, but this is the first time they really showed him to, like, almost a supernatural degree of power.
Yeah, they did also, like, in Hawkeye.
Yeah,
they showed him, like, being...
But, like, I was thinking, like, you know, the head-crushing scene in, like, season 1 of Born Again, like, that was, like, okay, yeah, that's a ridiculous, like, way over the top, like, people can't do that, you know?
Right,
and,
yeah,
and
exactly.
Here, like, when he started just attacking people and just murdering all those people in the finale, it's like, again, like, that wouldn't happen.
He's punching people and, like, they're flying, you know? Yeah.
They're flying and slamming into a wall and their backs are snapping in half. I had to clarify that, because I'm like, is there, like, something else or something, like a very light, because he's obviously not showing enough strength to be, like, comparable to, like, I don't know, what Spider-Man could do or something, or not even close to, like, what Hulk could do or something, but it does kind of almost feel like Super Soldier-esque.
Yeah, that's canon. It's kind of like, I don't know, like, it wasn't, like, bothering me, because, like, I knew that already, but I guess...
Yeah. They just pushed it further this time, I think, than they have before.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they didn't really show or show Fisk fighting people who weren't Matt or fucking who could.
You saw him being brutal.
Yeah.
But it was like brutal in the way that could happen in reality. Like when he smashed the guy's head in the door in the first season. That was like very brutal, but it was like brutal in like a way that could happen, you know? Whereas like what was happening at the end of the season was like, no, that's not really in the realm of possibility.
But I thought that scene worked very well because like I like the juxtaposition there. Vegeta with the two hallway fights, the total descent of Fisk. In the finale, how Matt took him down by basically revealing his identity to the world in the courtroom. I thought that was like really like well done, really interesting. That's going to have interesting ramifications going forward.
Had his I am Iron Man moment.
Yes, had his I am Iron Man moment. I don't know. I just thought like this was, I loved it. I thought this is the best season of Daredevil since season 3 on Netflix. And I think like it was a big improvement over season 1, and I was expecting.
You said the best since season 3, and I'm like, well, that only excludes one season.
Well, I mean, I consider Born Again to be like the same series. Yeah. So like, to me, this is just like season 5 of Daredevil.
Yeah.
To me, you know, so it's kind of like, that's the way I look at it. But yeah, I think it was better than season 1 of Born Again because, and again, not entirely because they had to rebuild that show from a scrap version, and it shows in a lot of parts in season 1.
I wonder where they're going to go, because we know they're doing a season 3, right?
Oh, yeah.
So where are they going to go? Because it'd be kind of weird if they went back to Fisk. It would kind of undo a lot of what was done.
So I don't think they're not going back to Fisk necessarily. He's going to be in it. Vincent D'Onofrio is in it, but it looks like he's going to be more on the periphery. And necessarily he has to be because he is not in a position of power.
My best guess would be they're going to do something with Mr. Charles.
I think they're going to do something with Mr. Charles. They teased at the end Matt's ex-psychologist girlfriend. She's going to become the new Muse. I don't know if like that's big enough to be main villain.
She's going to be the new Matt Bellamy from Muse.
Yes. It's funny because like there is a really popular storyline from the comics about Daredevil in prison. So it looks like they're going to be adapting that in part. And as an aside, also back going to prison, it's funny because like this was brought up to Charlie Cox in an interview because somebody pointed out like, okay, at the end of Daredevil season 2, Matt goes to prison. And in the trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day, Peter is fighting the Hand inside of a prison. And it's like, so people are speculating, is Daredevil going to be in Spider-Man? And Charlie Cox is just like, no, I'm not going to be in Spider-Man. What do I have to say?
And he started winking.
Yeah. He said like, he's like, no, he's like, yeah, but Spider-Man's fighting the Hand in the prison. And Charlie Cox just said, look, I'm not there. I don't want to be fighting the Hand in a prison. So we'll see if that happens. But that's just like an interesting fun aside.
I am not in Spider-Man. And they're like, why do you keep winking?
Yeah, why do you keep winking? Yeah. The interviewer
there's something in my eye, I swear.
The interviewer like literally hit Charlie too with that's what Andrew Garfield said.
Yeah. Well, it's also funny because it's like, he should have just said, I don't think I'm ever going to be in a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And then they'll go, wait a minute.
What? Yeah. Wait a minute. Hold up.
But yeah, anything else to talk about with Daredevil Born Again Season 2? Anything specific?
No.
We didn't talk too much about Karen
Payne. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Like, Deborah Ann Wall's performance in this was so incredible that it is insane that the original plan was to kill her off with Foggy before the series even started. It's like, you see this, you see, like, what she does in this season, and you're thinking, they killed her off screen before any of this? That would have been a total waste. Total waste of a good storyline, of a good actress, of a good character that is, like, now being used to, like, her fullest capacity. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. The last thing I have to say is I think that they probably shouldn't do other New York set street level shows. They should just kind of weave that into this.
No, I agree. We don't need to like spin off everything into their own shows again.
Yeah.
Like it's fine.
We don't need to do that now.
We can have, we can have Daredevil, we can have Luke and Jessica and Iron Fist, like,
and if
Danny.
you really want to get into something character specific, do a special.
Yeah. You could do a special like we're doing with Puncher. You could have those Defenders characters. You can have them like weave in and out of the story.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I really hope that maybe in the next season we do get like a cool scene with all 3 defenders.
Oh yeah, I think we will. But it's also like the thing about that now going forward is like, because that was Netflix. The Netflix needed content with Disney, Marvel, they have so many shows with so many different characters in production. I don't even think like there's room to do like separate series for all the defenders at this point.
Yeah.
Just because like they're doing, Wonder Man, they're doing Miss Marvel, I believe.
And they are doing another season of Wonder Man, which is crazy.
Yes, they're doing season 2 of Wonder Man. So, they got other plates spinning too, so yeah. But that's about what I had to say about that.
Yeah, well, that is Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Next week, we're going to be talking about The Punisher One Last Kill, which is kind of like, we don't know thematically how it connects to it. It's obviously in the same universe, but I was going to say it's kind of like a companion piece to it, because it's coming like the very next week. It's almost like a hidden secret episode we're getting or something, but we really don't know if there's any thematic ties directly to any of this stuff that was happening in Born Again. All we know is that the last time we saw Frank Castle, he was like kind of being held by the ADTF people and shit.
Right. Oh yeah. It's interesting because it doesn't necessarily take place after Born Again Season 2 or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think they said like it takes place sometime between like the ending of the original Punisher series, and then there's like some bits that are happening during Season 2 of Born Again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so it's kind of like, it's not necessarily a sequel or a cap off to like this season of Daredevil.
Yeah, I wonder how much
thing.
of a companion piece it's going to be and how much of it's completely its own thing it's going to be.
Right, yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it next week.
Well, that is our show for this week. As I mentioned, next week we are going to be doing The Punisher One Last Kill, so stay tuned for that. Until then, you can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will on those platforms. He is at Boxer Hero. You can check out our website, thetotalscreen.blogspot.com. If you go to our website and open up the container store for any of our podcast episodes and scroll down to the bottom paragraph, you'll find links to all of our social accounts, our RSS feed for the podcast, all that stuff's there. You can also subscribe to this podcast through your favorite podcast client of choice, like Apple Podcasts or Pocket Cast, and the entire backlog of this podcast, as well as additional content we've done in the past, is available on our YouTube channel, which you can find the links again at fullscreen.blogspot.com. All the links are there. So thank you everybody for listening. Night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.